Welcome to the Franchise Minute. I'm Anna Wilds, the franchise economist. Today's topic is the goldmine of information that is in the franchise disclosure document. And we have a special guest with us today, Heather McPherson with 1-800-STRIPER. Heather, hello and welcome.
Thank you, Anna. It is beyond a pleasure to be here with you today, my friend. Thank you.
All right, and we are friends. We've known each other about 20 years. That's how long I've been in franchising, and it's just great to have you here. Now, tell the audience a little bit about 1-800-STRIPER, what it's all about.
Okay, I'll do a little snapshot. 1-800-STRIPER is a fabulous brand. It's 24 years mature, but it's just emerging into franchising with a single focus business model on literally just striping, restriping parking lots, warehouses, interior work. Honestly, franchising loves fragmentation, and this is one fragmented industry, and there is what I say riches in the niches. It's by far the simplest, cleanest, most profitable B2B model I've ever had the pleasure to align with over a couple different decades. I mean, it's an incredible opportunity for the right person.
Fantastic. And as you shared with me, I mean, it's fun. It's a great brand. I mean, it's just really taken off like a rocket is what I think it has been doing and will continue to do until territory's gone.
Right.
All right. So to help you and the audience know what to expect, Heather, what we're going to do now is watch a 60-second video on what's in an FDD, and then I'll ask you some questions, and hopefully you'll provide all these great, insightful answers about the gold mine that's in an FDD, and then we'll have our audience be well informed. So you game?
I'm in. Let's go.
Okay, let's go. Here's the Franchise Minute. Welcome to the Franchise Minute. I'm Anna Wilds, the franchise economist, and today's topic is understanding what the Franchise Disclosure Document, or FDD, is. To start, it's a goldmine of information on a franchise. Each franchise in the U.S. has its own FDD, and they update them each year. And all prospective franchisees will get an FDD during the discovery process. Each FDD contains the same 23 sections, and we call these sections items. And here are some of the topics that you can learn about when you read an FDD. The history of the company, cost and fees, territory, exit strategies, financial statements on the company, contracts, and other good stuff. During our 15-minute Q&A session, we'll discuss these in more detail so that you are informed and know what to expect when you get an FDD as you're exploring franchises. Thanks for watching, and keep on watching. I'm Anna Wilds, the franchise economist. All right, Heather, help our audience understand what are FDDs and why are they important for franchise candidates to know about them?
Yep. Thank you so much. The Franchise Disclosure Document, or FDD, is a document that all franchisors, there's over 6,500 of us, that have to file it every single year in all the states. There are 15 registration states, and they have an option to either add or not add a little bit of language to the document through an addendum. But know this, the Federal Trade Commission, or FTC, heavily regulates everything that we do in franchising. So if someone wants to explore a franchise, the Federal Trade Commission does require that the franchisor disclose that individual with the full document. We send it to you. The good news is, though, all the FDDs are laid out exactly the same. They all have those 23 items that you said. Whether you're looking at a McDonald's FDD or Chick-fil-A or whatever it is, they're all formatted the same. And this is just to ensure that there's no surprises throughout your long-term relationship between that franchisee and franchisor.
Right. And it also makes it easy to compare franchises.
Yeah, 100%.
All right. Now, Heather, as the representative of 1-800-STRIPER, you've got a really important role in helping franchise candidates understand what's in your FDD. So tell us a little bit more about that.
Well, I know the document can be very daunting in an FDD, and I actually really love going through it with candidates. It's my role as a seasoned pro to ensure that anyone who works with me gets through this long document written by franchise attorneys with clarity.
Mhm.
I
Right.
always want to invest that time to ensure when I'm speaking to my people that they're comfortable with the document and fully informed. I always recommend to candidates to get a franchise attorney to review the
Right.
agreement. If it's not clear, and it happens normally towards the end of the process.
Right. Right. All right. So let's talk about help us the audience understand what's in an FDD. I gave just a hint in the
Mhm.
franchise minute video, but give us a little bit more detail about the contents. I mean, an FDD is usually how long, Heather?
Oh my gosh, 300 and something pages. It's ginormous.
Yeah, I mean, it's like this, it's a book that
Yeah.
you get. And one of the things that I found as a franchise advisor is that I think people are scared that they're going to get this gotcha moment, like, oh, I didn't know to ask, or oh, that was hidden, or whatever. No, the FDD makes sure that doesn't happen, right, Heather?
Yeah, and honestly, some franchisors will send it to you and say, "Hey, let me know if you got any questions."
Right, right.
We don't want to do that. And I
No.
really love this question because honestly, not all franchisors are created equal. So you really want to choose your partnership wisely. So
Hmm.
take the document, pick it up, put it down. When you're reviewing it under the items that Anna was referencing, items 1 through 4 are
Hmm.
concentrated on helping you understand the history of that franchisor, the industry that they're in, all
Hmm.
about the leadership, which is really important on who's going
Yes.
to be supporting you and educating
Hmm.
you in the brand, right?
Hmm.
And then there's always those numbers sections, and that falls under the cost, which is item 5, 6, and 7 in an
Hmm.
FDD.
Hmm.
And then there's this section that everybody wants to jump to called item 19. And
Right.
that's the one, right? The earnings claim section.
Absolutely. So, Heather, let's take a moment and let's focus on the item 19. So, do all FDDs have a written item 19?
You'd be surprised they don't. It seems I know it's like, and because the item 19 is really the only optional section for
Right.
a franchisor to provide or not provide details about the earnings potential of a brand. I would guess somewhere between 30 to 40% of FDDs have written
Mhm.
earnings claims. And well, I know 1-800 Striper has a very, very detailed and fun item 19. I love sharing it.
Right. Yeah,
Good.
a robust one, pretty impressive, I must say.
Yeah, really good.
All right.
Mhm.
So, an important role as a franchise developer is to help walk franchise candidates through the FDD, answer any and all questions they have about it, really understand what it's all about. And Heather, I think your approach is way better than, I mean, you're like in the top 1% of all franchise development people. From my experience, 20 years in the industry, you do a superb job. You really, really do. So, let's be clear with our audience, Heather, about the purpose of an item 19. It doesn't mean someone will make what is disclosed in it. Isn't that correct?
Yeah, I love the way you put that because it can be a little bit of a misnomer. I mean,
Yes.
what you're going to make in your business, that's up to you, and that's the
Mhm.
beauty of entrepreneurship. But
Mhm.
the FDD is designed to show you basically a snapshot of what's been going on in that system. Think of
Mhm.
it more like a toolbox that you're
Right.
going to use to build your pro forma, I say a brick at a time.
Mhm.
Since all item 19s are written by that individual franchisor, their attorneys, their accountants team, do yourself a favor, slow down, take your time to understand it because they're going to format it differently. And this is going to give you great clarity. Most people want to jump right to the numbers and try to figure it
Right.
out. But
That's
it's
right.
really, if you don't understand how they're presenting it, it can get a little confusing for sure.
Right. And I always like the franchise candidate first understand, the business model. What's it all about? I mean, because you really don't understand the numbers yet,
Mhm.
and what they really mean until you have a firm grasp of the business model, the business format, really the marketing. What are the important KPIs for the business and all this sort of stuff before you start jumping to cost, expenses, projected
Mhm.
revenues, and that sort of thing. That's my take on it, Heather.
Absolutely. And I think history of the brand comes into play. We have like mature brands that have been around 25 years, and their history plays right out into the numbers. If you don't get the history, then that doesn't matter. Same with an
Mhm.
emerging brand for sure.
Right. So one thing I want to just share, if you'll allow me to take a moment, is as a franchise advisor. So how do people know how much money you can make from a franchise? As
Well,
a friend, as a, I'll tell you what I say, and then I'll let you answer. How's that,
sure, sure,
Heather?
sure.
Is I just really stress that each franchise candidate needs to do their own research and make their own income projections based on the facts and figures they gather
Mhm.
during the discovery process. And of course, the FDD, including the item 19, is a huge part of that, but that's not the only research they need to do. What do you say?
I agree. I mean, the item 19s, they can be very challenging to gather the details, like you were mentioning, in
Mhm.
large franchise systems. So, hundreds and thousands of franchise partners have to be participating. And that
Mhm.
decision, sometimes that's why sometimes they're blank because
Right. Yeah.
it's just up to that franchisor. So, yeah, definitely.
So that's why most franchises don't provide an item 19. It's
Yeah,
just hard, you
it's a
know?
lot of work. A lot of work, that's for sure.
Right, right. And then people want to relate it to their own particular situation, and that's really not a good use of the data that's provided. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
It,
Absolutely.
all right. So, Heather, so we answered that question why some franchisors don't provide an item 19. What would you say is the best way to kind of tackle an FDD?
Yeah, I always say it's not a book. Don't read it cover to cover.
Right. I totally agree.
Yeah, but I think once you get comfortable with the document and where to find certain sections, I like to concentrate on the numbers first so I can understand that, which would be items 5, item 6, item 7, and item 19. If
Hmm.
I understand and the person I'm working with is making it make sense, then I want to dive into item 11 because that's one of my favorites. It tells you exactly what that franchisor is going to do to be supporting you for the long term. So take
Hmm.
your time. That's really important. Then you can also take a glance at item 9 because item 9 is a very helpful tool. It has a
Yeah.
listing of what the franchisor expects from you, and the list is much smaller than the item 11, and where to find it in that franchise agreement. So that's kind of my suggestion when you're looking at it.
So it sounds like you're going to revisit the FDD multiple times
Oh yeah,
through the discovery process.
absolutely. You got to have clarity. Absolutely.
And an important, just to emphasize this, an important job as the representative of 1-800 Striper is to make sure the franchise candidates do understand the contents of the FDD.
Absolutely. So that's why we do revisit it. And I always ask, the agreements are in there. I
That's
let them
right.
know it's right up front, area
Right.
development agreement, franchise agreement. So let's keep revisiting. Let's put it down, pick it up, put it
Mhm.
down, pick it up. Mhm.
There was a commercial a long time ago with a hotel chain, and they said no surprises. So the purpose of the FDD, I think, is so that franchise candidates don't have any surprises once they go from candidate to actual franchisee.
Exactly. Yeah. So clarity is very critical. Absolutely.
Well, Heather, believe it or not, the time flew by. We're just about out of time, but let's end with this. If someone is interested in learning more about 1-800 Striper, what do you recommend they do?
Oh, that's easy, Anna. They need to call you first, right? Because I know over all these years, you provide some of the most incredible education in the process for franchise candidates after 20 plus years in the business. You do
Mhm.
such an incredible job matching people to the right opportunity. And if you find that 1-800 Striper appears to be a good fit, gosh, we know you're going to send them our way.
That's right. I certainly will. Well, Heather, thank you so much for joining us. Thank you for educating our audience on how to mine the gold in an FDD. This is Heather McPherson with 1-800 Striper. Thank you, audience, for joining us, and keep joining us. Come back next week where the topic will be the franchise discovery process. I'm Anna Wilds, the franchise economist. Subscribe to the Be Wildly Wealthy YouTube channel. See you next week.
Thank you so much. Have a great day.
Thanks.